G'day, I'm Tim Thompson, and today I'm putting in a short stretch of fence to block off a recently replanted area from the grazing paddock. Today's video is about the end assemblies. Now I normally wouldn't recommend this, but I'm going to be using two different types of end assemblies, one at each end, and I'm going to be using two of the most common end assemblies. And the purpose of today's video is to show you how to set them up, give you some tips for setting them up, but also to compare the two different types. Steel versus timber. Steel's starting to take over, and there's a couple of reasons why. It's important to point out that the timber posts we're using today are sustainably sourced hardwood timber posts with no treatment from superforest plantations, so we're not putting any nasty chemicals into the ground. The steel that we're using is galvanised pipe, and I'm using light wall for the stay post, and I'm using medium wall for the upright end post. Let's start making end assemblies. Now I'm running this fence between two existing fences as an internal, so I'm using posts on the existing fences to tie off a ground wire to get my fence nice and straight and give me a mark off point for both my end assemblies. I don't cut the wire, I simply strain to the post using the strainers, which means I can still reuse that wire in a different length somewhere else. I'm amazed by the number of people that stand their post up and then try and put these heavy things on. I always put them on the ground. That's a lot easier, isn't it? I'm going to knock it in a couple of inches and then I'm going to check for level. Now that we've got the post a couple of inches in the ground and it's nice and level, Bill from Bat Fencing up in New South Wales tip comes in mighty handy with this hard soil. Just a couple of litres of water around the base of the post and spilt down the post helps to lubricate it down the hole. Job's done, and that was literally less than 5 minutes. Now there's a number of different brace kits that you can buy. Pretty much all the manufacturers make them. I'm using the White's kit today, and what I like about this kit is it's nice and small. It's just got a stay cable, a plate with a hook on it that connects into my stay post. Before you start constructing your steel end assembly, it's important to lay out all the parts and make sure that they're the correct length, because this is a fully adjustable kit. Once you're sure of all your dimensions, you then slip your tensioning cable over the end post first, followed by the top clamp. Tighten this up with a 16mm socket or a shifter, then insert your stay post, connect your stay post to the plate at the other end, insert your threaded rod and tighten it up. Job's done. To get the marking out for the box end assembly right, I mark 12 feet and then I go an extra couple of inches so that the hole is where I expect the centre of the post to be. Otherwise your gate doesn't swing properly. Then it was time to jump on the earth auger and dig the hole. I particularly like this earth auger because it comes with a cool little electric start. How cool is that? And it wouldn't be my place if we didn't hit a root. If you've ever wondered why standard traditional fence posts are 8 foot long, it's because that's about as far as you can reach down the hole to pull the rocks out. No! Ant. For a solid end post, only tamp about 1/3 of the dirt back into the hole each time and get a level, particularly on the first couple of tamping attempts, just to make sure that your post is nice and solid and straight. With the end post solidly in the ground, I retighten the ground wire, put it back into place and mark out where I want my inside post to be using the top rail. This stops having to trim it. I use the same trick. I come out the diameter of the post and I come in the diameter of the post, and that's where I put my mark to dig my hole. Repeat the tamping process, get the inside post nice and solid too, and then I can start worrying about pinning the top rail. Alright, posts are in, and as you can see I'm only about 1 millimetre out, and that'll pull up when I put the cross wires on the box end assembly. Extra pair of hands when you don't have anyone working with you. And now I can use my extra pair of hands to get the rail level before I drill the other side. To make the pins, I cut a piece of Rio rod at the 1/3 mark, leaving me a long rod and a short rod. Now we've got our safety glasses on and we're about to start running out the brace wire on the end assembly, and I'm going to go over a tip that Peter Barrett, one of my sponsors, gave me. Don't put your staples or your Davos fencing clips into the posts and run the wire through them, because all it does is create friction and it's a pain in the neck, slows you down. Instead, stick your end of wire on the top of the inside post, bring your wire down, and then just simply flip it over your end post, flip it over this side, and do the same thing again. No tangles, no mess, super easy. And all we have to do now is put our Davos fencing clip in that end, strain it up. So we get to the point of the video. Steel post end assemblies are taking over, not only because they let you work in trickier places than standard old-fashioned timber assemblies, but also all you need is a decent driver, a level, and a ratchet or a shifter. I only use this because it's quicker, and a hammer to knock your top plate on. And now compare that to all of the tools that I had to use to erect this box end assembly. Now, of course, there's still going to be people that love the box end assembly, and there are still versions of this that require far less tools and make the job really easy. But for the purposes of today's video, I thought it was interesting to compare old technology of timber to new technology of steel and see some amazing differences in the amount of time and the amount of tools required to install the two. I tell you what, the old hardwood posts are pretty unforgiving. If you don't get the holes matched up right, you're in a world of pain. It's been really useful having this strap to keep the top rail in place. I reckon there's a product in that. Call it Timmy's Hands. No, that's creepy.